reduction of injuries can be related to three specific areas. One of those is event knowledge, the other is your physical preparation, and the third one is the use of quality equipment. So we're going to look at each event one at a time and look at the equipment that can give you that advantage and that reduction of injuries. In both the bareback riding and the bull riding, you have about the same requirements for boots. Basically, all you need is a comfortable fit and a good solid heel counter that not only allows your spur to set more efficiently, but that also gives you protection in case the bull or the horse happens to hit the fence or down the buck and shoot, or your spurs stepped on when you dismount. And in line with that, then the riding spurs are designed with a wider band. They have rowels that are dull, that meet the rule book requirements in every association to protect the animals, and they give you not only protection but function that you need as a competitive athlete. The most technical part of the equipment would be the riding glove and the bareback rigging. For the bareback riders, a thicker glove that's stiff, that refuses to wad up or stretch out and cause problems, is also made more effective by the addition of a palm piece. The palm piece, while the frightening thing for an athlete that doesn't understand how it works, is also the key safety device. It allows you to hang on, it protects your hand, and it allows you to let go when the ride is completed. The palm piece is simply a stiff or rigid piece of leather that's inserted inside the glove that covers the entire palm area. That facilitates those actions that we just described. The glove's treated with straight tincture benzoin, makes the leather stiff, and also reduces the stretching effect that the rigging would normally cause, and this allows you to operate the rigging as you want to. The bareback rigging that's used today operates on a bind so that the rigging more or less holds on to the athlete as well as the athlete holding on to it. So it's very important that the glove is set up correctly, that the rigging not only hangs onto you, but it's loose enough that it doesn't cause damage to the riding hand. The big mistake that many young cowboys make is they start or they purchase a rigging that's too narrow, that's too tight on their hand, and that in itself causes problems not only hanging on, but also with injuries to the hand and problems when they go to let go. The number one thing here is to make sure you get adequate instruction when you put your palm piece together and set the rigging up. Remember, as a competitive athlete, you want to be able to hold on to it, but you've got to be able to let go to go on with future competitions. When the rodeo athlete in the bareback riding completes the ride and you reach down or double grab, the common mistake is that the athlete will come around with the free hand and drop his body weight away from the riding hand, which puts you in a potential hang-up situation. If you can remember when you double grab to drive your weight over your riding arm, shoulder, to drive that down and open your hand, that will essentially break the bind free and start that free movement, and then with a back and forward motion, you've got your hand freed from the rigging. If you can't get your hand out with those two simple moves, once you've dropped that riding arm elbow and you can't free it with two motions, your rigging is probably not set up correctly. We have tremendous opportunity to get those horses to perform to their best, as we have a thick bareback pad on the rigging that protects the horse. It also helps our rigging to set better. The cinches today are 8 inches wide at the center in virtually all rodeo associations. That doesn't cause any problem with how your rigging sets. In fact, it's more comfortable for the horse, so it protects them, gives you a better opportunity. If they buck better, you're going to win more. The options on latigos are leather or nylon. The advantage, of course, with the nylon is they're basically bomb-proof. They won't break, they don't wear out, they cost less. If you choose to use leather latigos, you need to keep them powdered so they pull easy. You need to check them for cracks and fatigue and make sure that you take good care of your equipment. As with all the events, the primary concern here is pay attention to detail and make sure that your equipment's in good shape. And we're going to show you how to use it a little bit later in the video. One of the most injury-prone areas in bareback riding is the buck and shoot area. Something that can help is to have all your ducks in a row, create an atmosphere of comfort and relaxation so that you're very comfortable with the approach to the animal, that there's no surprises or no unexpected transitions when you do go to get on your horse. A couple of things that you can do is have your chute hook ready so when your animal's brought in, you're ready to hook your rigging and put it on. Have your chute help already lined out. Remember that this is called the bareback bronc riding. The gentle horses are at Walmart with little kids paying $0.25 to get on it, and it goes up and down in one spot. Approach the animal with some caution and with a careful attentiveness to detail. Talk to them and let them know you're coming. While they may not understand English, they are going to understand emotion, and they're going to be made aware of your presence. As you climb up, approach from the back. Be careful not to stick your foot in, to prod them, to motivate them, and execute aggressively but smoothly just to get on the animal. As you step over again, let the animal know you're coming. Avoid using the buck and shoot as a ladder or a stepping area. Climb down in swiftly, smoothly. Get your feet in position. The first thing you want to do is get your weight on your feet. If you want to stand over the animal, we encourage you to keep just a minimal area. So if the animal does buck or rear, that you have some mobility and yet you're close enough to the animal to feel him move. As your helper climbs up, he'll do the same thing from the back to the front. Lloyd's going to spread his feet out so that he's away from the latigos and the area that I have to work. At that point, I'm going to voice my commands, climb up, spread your feet out, whatever I need to. I'll slack the rigging off, put it in position to pull, and then give my commands. A couple of things from a safety standpoint that you need to remember. The rigging's too far forward where it breaks over the horse and rocks forward. That's not going to help you ride, and it also puts you in a very dangerous position. So feel the brake on your horse, make sure your rigging's positioned correctly, check to make sure it's going to stay in place, and then pull it as tight as you need to be safe and to be effective. Hold your rigging on either side, voice your commands, pull. He would pull, the rigging's tight. I'm going to take it. All right, I've got it. Be aggressive and take charge. One of the best things you can do in the buck and shoot is to take control, voice your commands, and avoid the outside distractions. If you don't take control in here, somebody else is going to do that. And unfortunately, in youth rodeo, it's probably going to be someone that knows less than you do. After your rigging's tight, your rigging's set, make sure your headman's in position. Remember, it's bronc riding. Your horse isn't gentle. He's going to stand in the area of the horse's shoulder. As the horse goes to turn, he'll simply put his right hand underneath the horse's neck and push his head to the gate as it opens. When you're working on your horse, whether you're pulling your rigging or you're running your hand in and you're waiting for the contestant behind you to go, remember to keep your hips and your weight slightly into your hand. What this does, if the horse should rear or fall over, is it allows you to come out to the front and to the side of your riding hand, which will break that bind and avoid a severe injury to your hand or your arm. As you get your hand in the rigging, the flank man's got the flank ready. All you have to do is break your hand around, your free hand goes on the buck and shoot, your weight's still on your feet. As you pick your feet up into position, your heels lined up in front of your cinch, arch your back, pick yourself up on your rigging, and at that point, you're ready to ride bucking horses. A lot of the movement, a lot of the squirming that happens in the buck and shoot causes what we call a self-induced crisis. The horses have been there before, they've been to town, and that movement tips them off. A lot of times that's when they'll buck or fall over backwards. So try to make it a basic three-step deal. Your free hand, so if the horse does move, you can push yourself to the side out of harm's way. Your feet in position, so you're ready for the spur out. Pick yourself up on your rigging, your knees in against the horse and nod your head. It's really that simple. You'll sneak out and you'll get out on horses that other guys have difficulty with and give you a better chance to win money at those rodeos.
Come alive. That's that Garrett style right there. That's the Garrett
One of the most dangerous aspects of rough stock competition is the dismount. In the bareback riding, Danny, what are some of the things as a professional pickup man that you look for in the contestant?
I mean, the contestant, you know, a lot of times in bareback riding, especially younger guys will have a chance, have a tendency to get off too early. I don't want them in front of me, I want them behind me. You know, get in this position. When you're on the bareback horse, when you come to this part of my body is right directly behind me, that's where I want you to get off. I want you to get me by the waist, the cantle of the saddle. You know, I don't want up high on my head, you know. That kind of has a tendency to make it, you know, a bad move on your part to get off.
Right. I'm sure you've seen guys get in a hurry and fail to free their hand from the rigging before they start to dismount.
Right. Have your hand out of the rigging. Be ready when I get there. That's your shot to get off. You know, always concentrate. Talk to me when I get there, and I'll talk to you, and everything will work out.
Back, trying to hold on, off to the side. Oh, no. All right. Now watch him get up. Look at the work of Mark Baker. This man can pick the horse off the ground, up against the steel, or pickup men doing
the bareback riding, the hang-up is probably the most frightening aspect of that event. And while it may be an occupational hazard, it can be avoided. In my 20-some years of active competition in professional rodeo, I was blessed with inexperience in this area myself, but I have worked with lots of young people that have experienced it and also seen other pro cowboys in this situation. Usually the hang-up occurs because a contestant has his rigging set up improperly, or he slides down the side as opposed to being bucked off in such a way that it would break the bind and cause him to come loose. What you need to remember is there's some simple steps in responding to the hang-up. While the first step in the bull riding is to open your hand, with contemporary riggings, you're basically wedged in. So your first step becomes get to your feet. You get to your feet as many times as you have to, and you just don't quit. When you get to your feet, remember you have to drive your elbow down on the same side as your riding hand. So as you come up, make it with an explosive action that drives that elbow down, breaks the bind loose, and then roll away from the horse. I've seen contestants come completely up and over the other side, or get back on the bucking horse, and hopefully you're physical enough to execute this maneuver. The pickup men will try to come in and stop the horse, but if you do your job, you can probably be free in 1 or 2 strides and out of there before anybody else has time to step in and become a part of the action.